please don't hate me. Or if you couldn't hate me any more than you already do, well, it doesn't matter. But I do want to try and talk some things through with regards to Suzanne Morphew and the trial of Barry Morphew. Okay, so he's on first-degree murder charges for Suzanne Morphew's murder. She's been missing since Mother's Day 2020. She has not been found, and there was a prelim trial, and now it's going ahead to the main trial. There was a different judge, Judge Murphy, for the prelim. While the prelim was going on and leading up to that, it was said, oh, you know, he's Barry's friend, probably a hunting mate. There were all these rumors. Turns out that he kind of knows Shoshana Dark, who through an associate of his law firm, or, you know, someone else who works in the law firm where Judge Murphy is from, another attorney took one of Shoshona's cases. Okay, so, and then Judge Ramsey Lama is the new judge, and the trial's been moved out of Chaffey County to Fremont County. So the 11th judiciary has 4 counties in it. One of them is Fremont, and that's where it's been moved to. And now Judge Lama has ruled that domestic violence allegations can't be brought in as part of the prosecution. And so now Judge Lama is biased, or maybe there is, you know, a what do you call when you've got conflict of interest, because his ex-wife had something to do at one stage with an advocacy group that had Suzanne Morphew as part of a poster girl, you know, to fight against domestic violence, and Suzanne Morphew was used. So Suzanne is missing, and whilst domestic abuse can be all sorts of things, it can be financial, of course, emotional, you know, this verbal abuse, this mental abuse, you know, that just comes from being involved with a narcissist, or, you know, a sadist, or just someone super controlling. This is so difficult, because just say this wasn't real life. A debating team, if you're a good, if you were good at debating, yeah, you could run a good race for any angle whatsoever in this case, right? So I can easily understand how people on all sides of this dodecahedron of a case can feel absolutely that they have 100% the power of their convictions, you know, and feel absolutely righteous, and any side might turn out to be 100% right and justified, right? This is this sort of case. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, because they feel like, no, there is only one possible line. That is that Barry Morphew is a domestic abuser, that Barry Morphew murdered Suzanne. What have we got? Emily, you know, we'll talk about things very well. Creator Emily, you know, and she says, what if he is a made man? What if Morphew is a made man and has some sort of protection, right? It's possible. When did this happen? Was this already in Indiana? I mean, he's in the right sort of business, right? And he does say, or he has said, he knows how to get rid of the bodies. So does he know where the bodies are buried? Did this just happen when he went to Colorado? I mean, I'd like to know, was he a volunteer firefighter in Indiana? Or did that just happen in Colorado? And, you know, is there some sort of corruption at that kind of level? It's a very good question. She actually also talks about the situation with Al-Anon. We know that Suzanne, you know, had this Al-Anon book. So don't mistake this. This is not Suzanne going to Alcoholics Anonymous to heal her own alcoholism. Okay, this is to heal. You know, I despise. It's probably helped a lot of people. I despise AA. I don't like their manipulative, amateurish, cultish ways. It's a cult. It's a cult. You heard it here. And Emily brings up some really excellent points at how rather than being something that offers some fucking sensible, pragmatic advice, i.e. run, it can really get in your head that you need to just create healing in you and blah, blah, blah. We know that, you know, Suzanne was involved in Al-Anon because of her father, Jean, right? And indeed probably trying to heal a lot of sins of the father, but also the family. People don't like this talked about either. And is it fair, to not be able to at least mention, yes, sure, the abuser isolates from, but sorry, where are the family? And oh yes, I know it is a little bit of a long way. It's not really that far. And they had been able to be taking part in proceedings via WebEx, right? And now they're not going to be able to do that. That's very frustrating. But, you know, we've just got the big trial to go, really, right? So we're expecting that they'll be there bums on seat every single day for Suzanne, right? Were they really there? You know, you can be isolated as much as you can be pushed away or ignored. Maybe Suzanne willfully didn't want anything to do with them, even though she was stuck. I think families are so complicated, and I think that the love and all the water under the bridge is there just as equally, right? And it's so complicated. Every family is twisted in its own unique way. Okay, none of us are qualified to talk about it. Least of all me, not Sheila, not anybody. The people that are qualified to talk about it are the family, are Suzanne. She did try to reach out to Melinda. What happened? Melinda promptly deleted the text after replying, "I'll pray for you." Okay? I mean, come on. It's not... that happened. That happened. And... right? You've got some texts going to Sheila, or maybe some hearsay because it was on a phone call between Suzanne and her friend Sheila, that maybe Barry was abusive, right? Or that Suzanne might be a bit scared or something. And you do have Barry talking to the FBI at one point. Didn't he say he cut her face or got her on the nose at one point? But he says it was, I was doing something else, or it was, you know, getting past her and he hit her on the nose, in his own words. Maybe that's not allowed because the law says you can't say anything to make yourself guilty. I don't know. But, you know, Judge Lama, who's versed in the law, is saying that it's not admissible, those things from Sheila, right? What would have been admissible? Well, what if Suzanne Morphew had gotten the spy pen so that she could not obsessively try to catch Barry Morphew in an affair? But what if she put the spy pen in the kitchen so that when Barry Morphew was verbally abusing her, playing mental gymnastics of control with her, frightening her, it was recorded? There are a few files deleted from that spy pen, and I wonder what they were. Is the spy pen, I can't remember, is the spy pen how Libla was found? What was actually deleted? Would a woman afraid or in the right sort of knowledge, do you know what I mean? If she had the right sort of knowledge that actually she was really in a dangerous position and not just, if she truly knew she was in danger, a woman in that position, this is just my opinion, is too fucking frightened to have a spy pen around. You have to be covert. What if that was found? Right? Now, it wasn't destroyed. Did Barry find it and delete something and then leave it for investigators to find? Spooky. But Suzanne had that pen and was putting it in his car to try and catch him maybe having conversations with someone or having someone else in his car, right? Maybe I don't know, maybe if Barry did really find that, maybe what is deleted files, were some deleted files, maybe that is incidences that he thought made him look bad, but why would he leave the other stuff? Because it was nothing? But did it set him off? I don't know, but I feel like was Suzanne, I find it hard to marry some things with the other side, right? Not making myself very clear, am I? Why was she obsessed with finding one thing and not the other? Does it come down to shame? Would she have been too ashamed to show that side, but not too ashamed to show Barry Morphew cheating? I don't know. We will never know now. But, she wasn't too afraid to be right there, maybe in the next room or in the room with him, on her phone to her lover. I mean, this is ballsy. And I can't see that a woman would take that risk when she's being knocked around, right? It's not that women that aren't in abusive relationships don't have relationships outside, right? I think they do. Of course they happen. Of course they do. I don't know, but that just juxtaposes so strangely for me. Yeah. Can't remember what I've already talked about. I was told that the Attorney General, I don't know if this is a woman or a man, whatever, I would really like proof really before saying about it, but I'll say this is alleged that the Attorney General, so Suzanne Morphew's been on the missing persons list 2020 in Colorado, right, since she was reported missing, and now I'm told that the Attorney General has listed her now as a murder victim, a victim of domestic violence. This should be grounds for dismissal of the case. How do you get a jury that's not tainted now, right? Anywhere in Colorado. Attorney General has just told the USA that Suzanne Morphew was murdered and was a victim of domestic violence, so therefore, murdered by her husband, right? Before he even is in trial and it's been heard and he's either found guilty or not guilty. That's bonkers. I mean, what the fuck is in the water in Colorado? Are there parasites in the water getting into people's brains? I don't understand it. No, it is so topsy-turvy. Because if it's the truth or not, when is the time to make that? Just fucking wait. Wait till the trial is done, and then you shout it to the rooftops, right? But now, that isn't that gross misconduct? What is that? I don't get it. I know that the Attorney Generals, they tend to have, it's quite a position of power politically, but I don't know what they, I don't quite know what an Attorney General, as far as the United States, has in terms of real power, because it's different to an Attorney General of a country in a Commonwealth country. So I don't know, but it just seems, that just seems completely bonkers. How is that allowed? What and is this just the general understanding of even the Attorney General that, oh yeah, that, you know how sometimes it's like people think that Christian Bruckner is in jail for the murder of Madeleine McCann, right? That's what they think. Or they think that, they think that, certain missing people have been found, or people have been already found guilty and they don't realize. And is this a case of that in his own state? He just doesn't know what the frick is going on. It's such a mess. Isn't it up to the prosecution, maybe, to fight this bullshit? Scott Reich needs to do a talk on, because maybe, and Emily again, we're all thinking about double jeopardy, right? And Emily brings it up as well. Maybe the prosecution has just given up at a state level because there is some way that this could be tried by the federal court. So could that be something? I wonder. I don't know. Yeah. It's just so bizarre. The whole WebEx thing, clearly, of course, I mean, that is just so ridiculous to, I don't know what they're gaining, but it's white noise, right, to bring Kurt into it. I mean, what I saw from that, I saw above and beyond trying to sign in over and over again for hours, right? Now, and she's live streaming. So, for example, this is just one YouTuber, and what she was planning on doing was being live, signing in, not streaming it, but of course, commentating everything that was going on, right? So they've said no. If we could just, it's so funny because different countries have such different ways of doing things, right? It's so unheard of, some of the things that you're allowed to see and hear and find out about people in America, right? To us in Australia, this is just an obscene amount that you have access to already, right? Yeah. So maybe if the Mormon family can't sign in, they will have to just find some way to get a representative there to Colorado from Indiana. I don't know, what's that? It's not far in a flight, but it's a bit of a pain to get up from Denver, I guess. And people have driven the distance, someone could have come for something to be there for Suzanne. I can't get my head around that. So, everyone's different with how they see things, right? And everything can be explained away from all different angles very convincingly. So, the domestic abuse, financial, could be, yes, financial and everything. if that was shown clearly, and if the, prosecution had clearly shown, hey, we have got a motive here, with Photostoulos, who had borrowed so much money from his wife's family, right? So good motive, right? Barry Morphew had paid back $100,000. Fuck knows how he got that money. I don't know. Yes, okay. Is he a made man, knowing where the bodies are? I don't know. I've forgotten what I've talked about already because I had to re-record this. Oh my gosh. So, talking about as a made man, it's just one theory, right? And giving him protection, or people are frightened to go up against it. Really? I don't know about that side of it, but, was he a volunteer firefighter in Indiana, or did he just start that in Colorado? I mean, he's in the right business. We need to ask, hey, Kevin Kovac, you're in the CBI. That would tell me that CBI has investigations into organised crime, and could you find any link, Barry Morphew, to organised crime? We can ponder about business dealings and things being part of the equation. You got to find those links. Kevin Kovac. When did CBI get involved? Was it not until that 3-week mark when he finally went to Hotel Holiday Inn Express in Broomfield? Are all those soprano type dramas based in some sort of knowledge of how mob operates? For example, running refuse operations, because does that shine a light on the 5 refuse drops and why Barry Morphew might be not unfrightened to just drop rubbish right there in the city of Broomfield, right? Neighbours wouldn't want domestic bins being used for all sorts of stuff. They're not going to want to pay for that in their little cul-de-sac at Puma Path, right? I wouldn't. And so maybe Barry has some semblance of that sort of right-wrong thing, or, what might be going to cause him a bit of trouble, right? And he's just getting rid of rubbish. But if it's anything to do with the case, 3 weeks later, that rubbish was gone. But where did it go? Was there even a tiny little bit of a try to follow it? I mean, 3 weeks might be too late, but did they try? Did they find out where it went and try and find something? Bit of a mammoth task. It worked in the Cleo Smith disappearance in Western Australia, because straight away cops got hold of rubbish in this huge area and went through tons of rubbish, right? I don't know, there's so much to think about. It just, yeah. Power to people who will write the letters and everything. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know. Don't even know if it's the right thing to do, I don't know if it's the right fight. I can't explain it. It is awful. Say when a case is being tried, someone's on trial for rape, for example, violent crimes, rape, murder, and it's withheld from the jury their history of rape convictions. I mean, that is sheer madness, right? But we don't have Suzanne going to a GP. We don't have her photo, wearing sunglasses or long sleeves out of season. We don't have photos of her documenting her own injuries. We don't have her calling 911 or Lifeline. Sure, she's involved in these things herself. Is that how she met? Did she ever meet Ramsey's ex-wife? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. Who's standing up for her in person? Not her family. And people are trying to be helpful, but what has Sheila really got, right? So what is reaching a burden of proof for those things? There aren't the convictions, previous convictions. There aren't the previous, a filing of a police report. So yeah, sure, I know, because abuse can be all sorts of things, that financial abuse, that narcissistic abuse. Okay. Why wasn't Suzanne trying to document those things with the spy pen? I can't reconcile it. It is clearly a big possibility she is a victim of uroxicide, or the organized killing of her by her husband, actually carried out by someone else. But this is not a given, okay? Statistically likely, there's some weird shit that's going on. Sorry, I'm just playing with my hair. I'm very tired. I do this when I'm really, really tired. Twist my hair, I fidget. It's annoying. And she's going through this Al-Anon program that is not, it's not giving her the right sort of support and help. And maybe she's just going at things way too obliquely. But what real help then has she gotten when she maybe has obliquely tried to tell, and maybe it was the tip of a nasty, dirty iceberg? Her sister just saying, I'll pray for you, and deleting the text. And then, I mean, this is the thing, what can people do? And I'm not up to date, I'm not in the know about anything really that Sheila was saying back to Suzanne. So, sorry, this is really all over the shop and everything. And normally I'd say, oh shit, I'll have to record it again, but I'd already tried just before I started talking this time. That's why sometimes I get muddled up when I do that, and then I forget what I've said or not. So I try just to do it once, and then that has to be it. Yeah. So I'm probably saying things over and over again and missing out a lot of stuff that I wanted to mention. But yeah, Suzanne probably was exceptionally lonely in life. She was trying to forge relationships. She was being a good neighbor with Jean Ritter. Has Jean Ritter got a memory of times when Suzanne strangely wouldn't want to be seen in person, because maybe she had a black eye? Are there times when, she's noticed marks on Suzanne's arm or things like that? It seems that the Ritters had no inkling, and then all their fear has come later. And I mean, Barry being at that B&B, I keep forgetting the name of the people nearby in Puma Path. What's the name of that property? I mean, that is disturbing. Of course it is. But because they don't know. They just assume Morphew killed Suzanne, right? So they think they're in the neighborhood with a killer. It might not be the case, but it's pretty, you know, him wanting to be there. It's so... Emily mentioned something. She thought the thing that gives her pause is something. And I have to agree. It's the thing that really makes you go him. It's one thing, but it makes you go him. What the fuck did she say? I'll have to try and find it and maybe put it in the comments. You won't be able to listen to her lives anyway. I didn't even get to listen. I think it was a recording being played on a live. I didn't get to listen to the end because she makes them all private or for members only or something. What did she say? Something in his behavior. No, or something that he... Anyway. But you've got to put yourself in the jury's shoes and think, okay, you're sitting there on the bench, you're in court and you're hearing things and you're like, oh, this is just fogging the issue, you know. Why are we spending time with this? What am I supposed to do with this? Right? The prosecution needs to step it up, and you have to ask the question, are they not for a reason? Do they want this thrown out so the court case can be tried federally?